Recently, at one of the Trump rallies, Trump, as he's prone to do, said something that was not only horribly ignorant, but incredibly disrespectful. In this case, disrespectful to people with disabilities. During this rally, he essentially claimed that a mental hospital and an asylum were the same thing, but an asylum was actually worse. Well, I can tell you straight out that this is absolutely not true and is incredibly ignorant of the reality of how it is. But here's specifically what he said.
From Asia, from all over the world. They're emptying out their jails into the United States. They're emptying out their mental institutions into the United States, our beautiful country. And now the prison populations all over the world are down. They don't want to report that. The mental institution population is down because they're taking people from insane asylums and from mental institution. You know what the difference is, right? An insane asylum is a mental institution on steroids. Silence of the Lambs. Has anyone ever seen a Silence of the Lambs? The late, great Hannibal Lecter is a wonderful man. He oftentimes would have a friend for dinner.
Now you can understand that this is bad. This is actually very bad. It's horribly ignorant and does not correspond to reality at all. Asylums are not a worse version of mental hospitals. Asylums no longer exist. Asylums were a place where you took people who were mentally ill, where they would essentially be shoved into cells, treated as less than human, often treated very, very horribly, and then be left to be ignored for the rest of their lives. And in fact, it was fairly common for essentially prisoners in asylums to be trotted out for the entertainment of guests. Like you could pay money to go in and then laugh or be marveled at people who were mentally ill to the point of being incapable of functioning, people that were had severe delusions or thinking that was so disorganized that they were unable to function. That really gives you an idea of how exactly horrible it was. You see, then along came a guy called Felipe Pino. Now, Felipe decided that people in asylums were human beings and should be given the same rights and dignities that you would afford to anybody else. This became what's known as the moral movement, the moral treatment. To think of actually treating people in a moral way. This means, giving exercise, not chaining people to a wall and then forgetting about them, like giving them activities to do, ways to distract their mind, teach them particular skills. In other words, treating a human being like a human being, which is what the moral treatment is. So around that time, asylums ceased to exist, and what was created was mental hospitals or psychiatric facilities specifically for such people, so they can have a measure of functionality and dignity to their lives, which has all been robbed by the ignorance of Trump and what he spouted here. What's possibly, I don't even know what the word you would have for it. What's worse, the fact that he would say this, or the fact that he doesn't know what he's saying, and that's very concerning for someone who wants to be the president and who would have a significant measure of authority over the funding of such programs. Or perhaps he wishes to return to the old asylum system where a minimal amount of money is spent in order to essentially just keep mentally ill people out of the way so that they don't bother anyone else. An incredibly insensitive, insulting sentiment from Trump. But in his case, I'm willing to bet more that this is a display of ignorance rather than a display of hate.
Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.